Imagine being an 18-year-old rookie, stepping onto the court with the weight of the world watching. Everyone thinks you're going to be the next god in your sport. That was LeBron James in his debut NBA season in 2003. While most rookies were still trying to find their footing, LeBron began to do something before every game that would captivate every fan in the arena. Something that didn't even involve a basketball in his hands. In the NBA, it's common practice for players to chalk up their hands to improve their grip. But the teenage LeBron took it a step further. Instead of just simply rubbing the chalk on his hands, he began tossing it into the air, stretching his arms out as if reaching for the stars. Before long, this simple act became the most anticipated moment of each game. Fans would pay premium prices for seats behind the announcers table just to catch a glimpse of LeBron's ritual up close. Many dismissed it as just a show, with some fans even speculating that LeBron was ordered by Nike to perform the toss as a marketing stunt. But here's the thing, LeBron's chalk toss was more than just a spectacle. It was a performance routine. A ritual that all athletes use to maximize their chances of putting in peak performances. For LeBron himself, he said that doing the chalk toss became almost like a mental switch. Upon doing it, he would get focused on what was at task. But why can something so basic be so crucial for athletes? Why do the very elite obsess over making sure that they do their special little thing before every performance? And how can other athletes like you craft your own to elevate your own game? Well, stick around, because in this video, we're diving into the performance-enhancing benefits of routines and rituals. So let's get started. So what exactly is a performance routine? Simply put, a performance routine is a structured sequence of actions or behaviors that athletes engage in before, during, or even after their performances to help optimize their mental and physical readiness. While you might hear them referred to as pre-game rituals, mental cues, or performance habits, they all serve the same purpose: to help an athlete get into the right mindset to maximize their chances of performing their best. Performance routines can take many forms. They can be physical symbolic gestures like LeBron's chalk toss or Usain Bolt's lightning bolt. They can be mental like Michael Phelps listening to music and visualizing the perfect race just as he's walking out to the pool. And they can even be emotional, like Novak Djokovic engaging in intentional breathing and mid-game mindfulness to recenter himself after a few poor shots. They can even be sequences of basic acts that you follow before every game, like putting on your left sock before your right, having the same pre-match meal, and even taking a number 2 right before you head out for your warm-up. But why exactly are these routines so important? Well, let's dive deeper into the science and psychology behind them. So there are 3 main reasons why athletes turn to performance routines. Firstly, performance routines help to eliminate stress and lessen performance anxiety. When athletes engage in a consistent routine, it serves as a calming mechanism. It's natural to have lots of nervous energy before a big game, and that can cause us to become agitated or a bit fidgety. So having routines that are particularly physical is a super important way to burn off some of that energy to help us feel more balanced in our arousal levels. It's why Steph Curry does a 100-meter dash in the hallway before basketball games, and also why a lot of athletes like to engage in some pre-game dancing to lighten the mood and release some muscle tension. Other routines such as deep breathing or a few minutes of meditation can also help with this issue, because in doing these, athletes activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes a sense of relaxation and reduces stress hormones like cortisol to a more suitable level for performance. Secondly, performance routines provide a positive distraction, occupying the mind in a constructive way. This aligns with the psychological theory of attentional control, which emphasizes the importance of directing attentional resources to task-relevant cues and away from distractions. Essentially, how good are you at directing your focus and attention onto things that you actually want to, and away from things that you want to ignore? Before a big performance, you can have a million thoughts running through your head, like, what if I lose or fail? What if I let my teammates or my coaches down? What if I choke in the big moment? And just many others which can cause you to get caught up in a future that 1, hasn't even happened, and 2, involves all the last things that you actually want to happen. So routines allow the mind to be preoccupied with something else, something familiar. You're distracted by going through the motions, and this quiets all that other noise. It's why someone like Rafa Nadal engages in his meticulous water bottle placement. It's a positive distraction for him to not get caught up by the overly harsh, overly critical voice in his head that all of us have during the heat of performance. So by engaging in a familiar routine, athletes can essentially create a mental safe space that allows them to block out negative thoughts and just maintain focus on the task at hand, or at least start dialing their attention gradually towards performance an hour or 2 before it's starting. And lastly, performance routines quite simply help to increase confidence, setting the stage for peak performance. And here's how it works. When athletes consistently execute a pre-performance routine, they're essentially programming their mind for success. Going through the routine feels like an early score on the board. You're sequencing things together and ticking them off one by one, just like a checklist. And we all get a buzz and rush of dopamine in anticipation of knocking off the next item on our to-do list, followed by an increase in testosterone from the win of actually completing it. So as much as these are basic acts, they can begin to have a profound impact on your neural chemistry, starting to build the mental cocktail needed to be our most alert and competitive. This repetition builds muscle memory in the brain, reinforcing the neural pathways associated with successful performance. These routines help you feel that everything is falling into place, that you're on a roll and now you're ready to dominate on the pitch, court, or track. But here's the thing, from all these things that we've discussed, they are all guided by an overarching principle and purpose behind routines and rituals: an increased sense of control. In the unpredictable world of sports, where outcomes can be influenced by numerous factors that are outside of our hands, having a structured routine provides athletes with a sense of control over their environment and their performance. The weather, bad referee decisions, unlucky bounces, or a slip, these are all things that athletes fear will derail their performance. And that fear is exacerbated by the fact they don't have control over these things. They are unfortunately things that you just powerless to at times. But routines and rituals give you something you can 100% control. This is one of the key human needs for anyone to feel good about themselves and their situation. Feeling more in control gives you more freedom to perform your best. And if you exercise little snippets of control before performances or even midway through them, it reinforces the idea that you can have a huge impact on proceedings. So now that we've explored the benefits of performance routines, how exactly do we create them? Well, if you want one-to-one support on this, you can apply for my coaching program, Peak Performer, where we'll build you a top 1% mentality. The link is in the description if you're interested. But for now, let's run through a few steps to get you started. So step one is to identify your objectives. What do you actually want to achieve with your routine? Because it will depend on your personality and natural demeanor and whether that actually aligns well to performing at a high level in your chosen sport. You don't want to jump straight in and think, I want to do the LeBron chalk toss or the Ronaldo breathing stance before free kicks. You've got to work out the individual reason for you engaging in the routine and create something that feels natural to you. You don't want to imitate others, just be your own athlete. So think about whether you want routines to eliminate stress, increase focus, or boost confidence. Having clear objectives will guide you in designing an effective routine. Then a direct follow-on from this is step two: choose your uppers and downers. Now, what I mean by this is that not all performances are the same, and because of that, we will feel differently about them. Some come with a lot more pressure, like a playoff game instead of a regular season game, or a race where you're aiming for a PR instead of one that's more of a tune-up race. So you need to think about identifying and then using both uppers and downers. In other words, incorporate elements that hype you up and energize you, as well as elements that calm you down and help you keep your focus. So on some games, it might be all about downing a Red Bull and then smashing the can on your helmet if you're a college football player wanting to get hyped up on rival week. Or on other occasions, it may be about doing a pre-game warm-up of expending excess energy on an assault bike, before then a meditation routine to bring you back down to a more suitable level of calm and composure. So just ask yourself, what actions can bring me up and what actions can bring me down? And just be aware of the need to use both of these in appropriate situations. And then step three is to cement it with a phrase. As said earlier, one of the purposes of performance routines is to provide a positive distraction and eliminate a lot of those racing thoughts that make us feel anxious and worried. So a good thing to also consider, particularly for the grand final gesture that's part of your routine, is to say an accompanying phrase to communicate your intention of the performance ahead. This can be done whether that final gesture is putting on your game jersey or a hop, skip, and a jump upon walking onto the field, whatever signals to you that it's now time to be in your optimal performance mindset. It can be simple basic things like lock in or it's time, or it can be single words to embody how you want to perform, such as dictate or clinical. Doing this just helps you keep focused and gives you that last little confidence boost to go out and perform your best. And the final step is just to experiment and have fun. Going back to someone like Steph Curry, he says his routines have changed and morphed over time, adding and taking away things whenever feels natural. So it's not like you have to commit to something indefinitely. Someone like LeBron has stopped and restarted the chalk toss on many occasions throughout his career. So try things out. If they work, great, keep them. If they don't, that's fine, find something else. But when you do find something that works, consistency is the key when it comes to performance routines. The more you practice your routine, the more ingrained it becomes, helping you activate the right mindset and physiological responses automatically. And being consistent with anything as an athlete is the most important thing, but also the hardest. So to learn how to become more consistent as an athlete, check out this next video here.